Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jude and Guy. Hello there. Today, we'll be traveling to a faraway galaxy a long time ago to discuss the hokey religions and ancient weapons of the Force from Star Wars. But before we begin, all the support we get really helps. And if you're enjoying anything we're putting out, sharing this with a friend or leaving a review on iTunes really helps us to continue to do what we're doing. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Now sit back and prepare to make the jump to lightspeed as we uncover just how the Force works. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you wish to sponsor us, suddenly cry out your sponsorship offer and then go suddenly silent. We will sense the great disturbance in the Force, and we always do. Heads up, this episode contains spoilers for all Star Wars media, including movies, TV shows, novels, comics, etc. Enjoy.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. The once time a year we record
an episode
a
together.
A singular.
Back. We've pulled it back from the grave. We dug Matt out from his coffin. We pulled Guy down from his high horse, and we found me on a street corner.
Not my fucking horse.
Back.
Just let me rest. I was having a good sleep in my coffin.
No, we dug you up. We fucking put a defib on your chest. We killed Guy's horse. I'm sorry, Guy.
My fucking horse. What's?
Poor Philip. He was a good horse.
He was a good horse. And we're back behind the microphone.
What's with you and hating horses, Jude? Huh? What you got against horses?
I never said I hate horses.
Jude is the antithesis of a horse girl.
Antithesis?
Antithesis.
I am horse girl's nemesis.
He's the nemesis. Nemesis.
I'm the final boss in the horse.
Are you guys making a fucking Finding Nemo reference in the year of our Lord 2023?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I was making a Finding Dory reference. What are you talking about?
True, much more relevant.
Much more relevant. And other than Puss in Boots 2, it's still the best animated movie of all time, obviously.
Well, I haven't even seen Finding Dory.
Oh, excuse you. Tintin, the animated movie, still exists. Tintin and the Secret of the Unicorn. That's got to be up there. You really want to start beef about animated movies at the start of this episode, baby?
No, I love animated movies. But you know the one animated movie that's fucking terrible? The Clone Wars animated movie.
What are you talking about? That's great.
Are you kidding me?
I thought you were trying to do a transition, but you're just bullying Jude.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The Clone Wars show is great. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
It's okay. To be fair, you're the kind of person who thinks Thor 2 is very good. So I can't.
Never said very good.
I can't.
Oh.
I can't take movie opinions from Jude.
Wait.
He's doing quick Googling.
He's Googling. He's Googling. Eyes are on the screen.
Because depending what year I was going to say, depending on the movie it came out is drastically impacting how viable my opinion on enjoying it was. And it came out in 2008, and I've only seen it at the movies when I was 8 years old, and I loved it because Anakin and Obi-Wan were back together. So I'm not going to die on the hill of it because I haven't seen it in 12 years.
Well,
longer than 12 years.
It is a terrible movie, and it is part of the Star Wars franchise, which will be the topic of our episode today.
Were?
I was.
We're not doing fucking Star Wars today. No.
Are we actually doing Star Wars today?
Today we will be embarking on the entire Star Wars franchise. I hope you've got your rations, boys, because we are
my god. I have a family event in 3 hours. I'm going to be here till fucking midnight.
Cancel it. Midnight? That's optimistic. We're going to be here for a couple of days. So we're going to go in depth to every alien species that appears in the franchise.
I thought we were doing Transformers. I was really excited.
Every model of ship that exists in the Star Wars franchise, and every minute detail of the plot. We're going to go in depth, in build, and how the world building is so analyzed and brilliant.
Oh no!
Just kidding. Just kidding.
He's actually pulling a fucking ruse on us.
Today we're just gonna be talking about Star Wars and its magic system. So what most people in the Star Wars universe call the Force of the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's not a magic system. It's a telekinetic force. It's sci-fi.
Shut up. It is a magic system in our definition of magic systems.
Just like the X-Men powers.
It's more of a plot device half the time. The Force. It's either a plot device or a cool way to show visual effects. But
it's a Deus Ex Machina.
the Force is whatever the writers need it to be at the time of the writers.
Yeah,
I will be very intrigued to find out about these because I'm going to say this at the top of the episode. I've watched 2 Star Wars movies.
That's honestly more than I expected, kind of.
It's no, I've watched.
You haven't watched 2.
I have watched 2.
Really?
Yes, and you were there with me for both of them.
Which movies?
The actual first movie, which you and I, Jude, watched at one of the sleepovers that we had in primary school with the other 2.
Really?
Yes, I was.
We did.
Forced.
Oh, you mean A New Hope, not Phantom
Yeah,
Menace.
New Hope. Yeah, the first.
I don't know.
Was there a guy called Luke Skywalker in it? Do you remember the movie?
Yes. The first one, like the one that people see first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there old man Obi-Wan going?
I'll be honest. As I said, I saw it in primary
What
school.
is the other movie
I don't
you've seen?
remember.
What is the other movie you've seen?
The Last Jedi. Is that one?
Oh my god. Okay, well,
Is that a movie? Why am I being laughed at? That's one of the movies, isn't it?
It is. It is one of the most controversial ones.
Seemed fine to me. It seemed pretty cool.
Oh, as I said, as I said when I walked out of that movie, it's a good movie. It's a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah. So if you watched it without having watched the Star
no
Wars
context
movie
on the
before-
Star Wars movie, so it was just a good movie.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
we'll give you a brief summary of Star Wars then. Star Wars is an epic space opera franchise originally created by George Lucas and is now owned and being created by Disney. It all began in 1977 with A New Hope, now deemed Episode 4 in the franchise, but originally it was the first one made. There currently consists of 11 live-action movies, including the 9 in the main Star Wars saga. The 3 originals, the 3 prequels, and the 3 sequels. 1 animated movie, the Clone Wars movie, which is trash. 4 live-action TV shows. 8 animated TV shows, and many, many, many video games, novels, comic books, and way more. There's like rides, like theme park rides, Star Wars stuff. So there's like so much Star Wars stuff that all contributes to the lore and stuff like that.
Wait, the theme park rides contribute to the
Well,
lore?
technically they're in canon.
That's fucked up.
Because anything technically, because if they're built like, okay, so we'll get into it a little bit. It's kind of the what is canon and what's not is split into George Lucas and Disney and canon and legends. So George did put a lot of stuff out like comic books and books before Disney took over, and they built the universe up a lot, and honestly built the sequel up. What happened after? But when Disney came along to buy it, they basically went, fucking scrap it. Hate it. Like, just throw it all out. We keep the movies. That's it.
Get your shit out of here.
So all that stuff is called
Yeah.
legends. A lot of that stuff is used for references, and they like take a lot of inspiration from that stuff for the newer stuff, but technically not in canon.
Yeah.
You mentioning the video games has made me actually had another realization. I've probably spent more time playing the Lego Star Wars video games than I have actually watching the movies. So
Honest.
Oh yeah, that's not hard though. They're
that's
great
not
games.
hard. They're great games.
They're great games.
Anyway.
But yeah, some of the stuff I'll be referencing today will be hopefully mostly canon, but I might dip into a bit of legend lore because it's very hard. Sometimes there's a bit of a lukewarm grey area between, so it's very hard to find that area. But most of the stuff we will cover today will be canon.
Okay.
But yeah, so anything created by Disney after they bought it is technically canon, I do believe. But yeah.
But it's Disney canon.
Yeah, it's Disney
Yeah.
canon.
Yeah.
Here at Live by Law, we
Bad.
stand big corporations that will sponsor us.
However, if they don't sponsor us, girls,
Stick
it to the man.
We will hear you.
We will slander you until you sponsor us. That is the
Does not seem
rule.
like a great business model.
It's not great until it works.
We either need it to work.
Hey
once.
Disney, I love you, Disney. Just don't invite these guys. Invite me to your premieres. I'll shill for you.
I want to say things that would get me put on a blacklist.
Well, so going more into the Star Wars franchise, the Star Wars franchise depicts adventures of characters in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, in which humans and many species of aliens coexist with droids who assist them in their daily routine. There is space travel between planets, which is common due to lightspeed hyperspace technology. Yes?
Question.
Yes.
Are they technically humans?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah.
Thought it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. How the fuck did they get from there to here?
It's fucking... It's
Okay, cool.
fictional universe.
But they are actually humans. Cool.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They are human. They are human beings. But, like, there's always that, like, because it is a space opera, they're like, were they aliens and are humans just playing the parts for this opera? But, like, that's deep, like, theory bait, so, you know.
Okay.
But, like, yeah, they're humans in canon.
Okay, sure.
At its core, Star Wars is a battle between good and evil, the light side of the Force representing good and the dark side representing evil. The main characters in Star Wars universe includes the Jedi Knights who use the Force for good, in quotation marks, and are depicted, are dedicated, to peace and justice. The Sith Lords who use the Force for evil and seek to dominate the galaxy, and the smugglers, bounty hunters, and other individuals caught in the middle of the conflict. So that is basically...
They're the best characters, honestly.
Just the guy who fucking ended up there, or making the most of a bad situation. That is basically...
The smugglers and bounty hunters.
Yeah, Cad Bane. Cad Bane has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
That's basically Star Wars universe. So, Guy, as someone who doesn't know, do you need any other explanation of the Star Wars universe before we get in?
How are we defining good and evil? Are we going by any moral code system I need to be aware of? Do you got any philosophers to reference?
We
or are you
will
just
go
going
deep-
off sort of a vague idea of the authority and the rules being the right thing?
We'll go deep into the moral code of both the Jedi and the Sith, but generally, good is like, that's just like the good guys, you know? They're seeking for freedom and against the impressive empire,
And they're willing to kill anyone who stands in their way to get it.
Well, that is a big thing about the prequels movies. Is about like the Jedi are the Jedi actually the good people, or are they just holding up a system that is oppressive? That's literally a thing in the prequel movies.
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, it's a good exploration to have.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a whole thing about how like the Jedi Masters are too like set in their ways, and they won't like listen to anything, especially when the people are struggling. You know.
I think you can kind of think about it a little bit like the D&D definition of good versus evil is kind of carry across the ball to D&D, so to Star Wars, where they aren't necessarily good or evil. It's just evil means more selfish, and good just means more selfless. Because the dark side people aren't necessarily evil people all the time, but they're more self-focused, and they're more, I'm using these powers to make myself stronger. And then the good light side of the Force people are more, I'm making these powers stronger so I can look after people or do something for someone else.
Oh, is that why that guy killed all those kids? To make himself stronger?
Exactly right. That is it.
It was his right.
Is that actually true? I was fucking with you. I thought I was just...
Yeah, no, the dark side of the Force, you get stronger the more children's blood you kill. Right,
More children!
That is not
That's
is not
in canon, baby. That is...
He just enjoyed it, you know?
He just had a funny, silly little goofy moment.
We all have them. So,
we all have them.
Before we get into it, you've heard a lot through like pop culture. What do you think the Force is?
It's I know that sometimes Daddy Vader uses it to choke his submissive little subjects. And that it can help you fly a spaceship real good.
Yeah, those are two ways that the Force can be used. What do you think it is?
Magic space bullshit. I don't know.
Pretty accurate. Jude, do you have
Yeah,
a
that's
good
pretty fair.
explanation of the Force?
I believe the Force surrounds us. It makes up everything. It's life force itself.
Well, actually, I was gonna send. Actually, I don't have this.
Why does he sound grumpy now? Do you take away his point?
No. That was good.
Took away his quote.
That
Mad
was
about
good
it.
explanation. I was gonna send you something. One sec.
And you have to remember, midichlorians exist.
That is something we will get into. Metachlorians. We'll get into the biology of the Force, the powers. We will step into the different groups that use them.
See, the problem is I've been exposed to a lot of how would you say, generated Star Wars content. I haven't been exposed to the source though, which means all of my stuff is really diluted. I'm aware of the word midichlorians, and I'm aware that it made people angry, but that's about it. So now I'm just confused.
Oh, you're back.
Me?
Your voice cut out for a moment.
Oh, I was recording.
Yeah,
Basically,
that
I
was
was
you,
saying
dude.
that.
Cringe.
Haha. Maybe Discord wasn't a good choice.
No, that's fine.
Oh, I'll figure it out.
Okay, I can't send this to Discord for some reason.
What are you trying
I'm
to
trying to
say?
send you a quote to read out, but it won't send it.
Like,
As you can see, we've used the previous 11 months to hone our skills and ensure that we
I'm using the wrong keyboard.
hold the highest levels of professionalism.
So
We're using the wrong keyboard.
yeah, I want to be that clear. I was using the wrong keyboard. I am not strong with the Force.
The Force did not guide you this day.
where are you sending it? To General?
I'll be sending it to the only text chat we have in Discord.
Can we appreciate the text chat we have on our podcast thing is just Matt, I was talking, my mic was off, he was muted. Matt, my headphones aren't working. Matt, can you hear me? Matt, my mic was off. Matt.
My headphones are fucked.
Sure.
Just Matt. Shit. Can't hear me? Shit.
Let's not expose. Let's keep on track. Let's not expose the inner workings of this podcast.
Go on.
I
Send
would
your
like,
quote, send it.
Jude can read that one out.
Oh dear. The Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Yes. So the Force, that is what the first explanation of what the Force is in A New Hope. That's the first explanation. So the Force goes by many names to many different cultures. It's known as the Ashla, the life current, the tide, the sight, the life wind, the great presence, the luminous mist, the unity, the beyond, and just simply it. The clown.
I kind of like Life Wind. That sounds kind of funny.
I like the tide personally. I like that.
Yeah.
There's some good ones.
You get to eat some beans. You get a little Life Wind.
I like it because it reminds me of the clown.
Yeah, the clown. The clown.
Imagining, yeah, him just guiding everyone. He could choke some people out. Don't know if he's any good at flying spaceships though.
So the Force has been interpreted again in many different ways for different cultures. It is also interpreted as a song, an endless, deep, storm-tossed ocean, a massive tree with deep roots and high branches, an interlocked series of gears are made from endless number of materials, a dance with wind or with fire. So that is what different cultures have experienced the Force as. But the Force is an energy field created by all life that connects all living things and binds the galaxy together in the Star Wars universe. This Force basically comes in two forms: the living Force and the cosmic Force. There is also a view that which is called the unifying Force, which is mostly just the cosmic Force, but isn't highly accepted throughout the galaxy. It's basically saying that like the Force is the connection between all minds and stuff like that. There's a whole deep thing into it, but it's not really accepted, especially in canon. It's not a high thing in canon. It's more expanded upon it in Legends. There's also a physical Force, which is the Force that allows Jedi's and other Force users to use their powers. But that is just an extension of the cosmic force which binds the universe together. So the living force represents the energies of all life forms. The energies feed the cosmic force which binds the galaxy together. So in a weird way, it represents somewhat of the four fundamental forces of the universe and in our universe, and like gravity and stuff like that, but on more of a like cosmic awareness kind of way.
And also I can manually edit this with my fucking brain.
Yeah, exactly. So when a life form dies, they become part of the cosmic force and provide provide power back to the living force. So basically, it's an endless cycle of power given back and forth and the flow of the universe.
What happens if population surges too much?
So population surge, it actually increases the power of the force in that area. That is one thing that happens. Which will come up here.
The Force isn't following the laws of thermodynamics?
The Force doesn't not follow the laws of thermodynamics, no.
Very disappointing to hear. George Lucas, you failed me.
The Force exists everywhere in the universe, but is most powerful where life is most prominent. These places are referred to as vergences, nexus, or lotuses, and are usually where force-sensitive beings seek, as it's easier to connect with the Force directly. These places are created around a particular place, object, or person who is very strong with the Force. Force users are drawn to these, and the will of the Force speaks powerfully through them. So basically, like if you wanted to get good visions, or where you build a Jedi temple or something like that, you'd probably build it in a place where there's a lot of life, and that's why you often see either in very huge jungles where there's a lot of teeming with life is where Jedi's go, or like big cities, like in Coruscant.
So that's why they have the Jedi Temple in the middle of the capital city.
Exactly. Not only is it politically important,
I always thought that was a silly move.
It's politically important, but it's also a place of there's a lot of people around. There's a lot of life forms, so it's very powerful.
A lot of juju to tap into.
Exactly. That's why you see in some of the movies when a person wants to disconnect from the Force, they often go somewhere very remote or very isolated.
Right.
So an island or a barren planet where there's not much.
Guys, seen that one where Luke goes off on his own.
He's on an island.
He's on a little island.
The Last Jedi.
He's not on it. He's not all by himself though.
There's a couple like
he's got a friend.
There's like 3 fish people.
Yeah,
and the big cow thing.
And the big cow thing.
Don't remind me of the big cow thing.
Keep thinking about it.
I don't want your green milk.
Why not? It's green. What's wrong with green milk, Matt?
Everything.
Nutritious.
The Force has a will of its own and communicates its will through midichlorians, which are the beings in the universe that provide life to the galaxy. So midichlorians are a microscopic intelligent life form that exists inside all living organisms in the universe. They're basically modeled off mitochondria in our cells. But they're going to have different amounts of them in people's cells, so people can have more or less of them.
Medically diagnosed magic user?
Exactly.
That's fun as. That's great. For a magic system, that's relatively grounded.
So yeah, one of the things that, this is added in the prequel series, and one of the things when they find a special kid who ends up being Anakin, they're basically like, his midichlorian height is higher than I've ever seen.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, they take a little sample of his blood.
Yeah.
That's a little bit funny.
Yes, he's prone to magic. Midichlorians being biological means Force-sensitive beings often is an inheritable trait through bloodlines, but is not always the case. So someone could have very powerful parents and not be very powerful Force, or you not have very powerful Force parents and be powerful the Force. It's also known to skip generations depending on the case.
You'd be pretty fucking gimped on that one if you got skipped on the midichlorian. My dad, magic as fuck. My kid, magic as fuck. Me, dipshit.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole thing. There's like, there's a whole like lines from like the trailers where I have it, my father has it, my sister had it. So it's talking about being strong with the Force.
Jesus Christ.
This also means that cloning beings with high force sensitivity works and is a thing in the Star Wars universe. So especially, and we're not going to go into it deep in canon, there's a whole series of things where people are just being cloned again and again and again, and there's a Luke who gets cloned, an evil Luke who gets made from the hand that Luke gets chopped off in one of the movies.
Bad Luke.
Luke is the main
Is that why
character.
Yeah, I know. Is that why they call it the Clone Wars?
No. That's the
Well, they
prequels,
kind of-
where a bounty hunter gets cloned. Because he's got the best DNA in the universe. The best bounty hunter DNA.
He's got the best DNA?
Well, that's what they said.
They basically
Medically diagnosed best DNA in the universe.
They just clone a bounty hunter who's like a good bounty hunter, and they just like clone like millions of units off of him to send into the galaxy to fight
They
a
don't
massive
claim
war.
because he's good. They clone him because he's the best.
The best.
He's the best bounty hunter. Come on.
That's so fucking
Yeah.
funny.
He's alright.
His head does get chopped off, but he's the best.
Doesn't matter. There's now like a billion more of him.
And 200,000 units and a million more on the way.
I know the quote, don't know the movie, don't know the context. Go on.
So that is basically the general gist of the Force. We're next going to go into the origin of the Force, like where it comes from. Are there any questions about the Force itself?
I mean, so many, but I'm assuming you'll answer most of them.
You may assume wrong.
It depends. It depends. Ask a first question, and I'll see if it's going to be around the same.
I mean, my question is more just the mechanics of. It's like a too many writers type thing, where it's like, yes, the bugs in my blood connect me to the life force of the universe, which lets me do some bullshit, and also makes me clonable.
Well, the clonable part is like they can take your like you have a lot of midichlorians, so they can like make someone who's also powerful with the Force. But the way people use it, basically, so if you have a lot of this life force in you, if you're really powerful with this, you can exert your will through the cosmic force. You know what I mean? So your will becomes what you through the Force you can have powers. Basically, like imagine like in D&D, you can use sorcerer powers if you're a magic bloodline, right? And you can just be like, you can cast spells because you can, because it's in your blood. That's kind of like, instead of throwing your blood, because you have these midichlorians in your cells, you can exert your will on the cosmos, basically. The force that binds everything together.
Okay. Sure.
Great. I'm glad you're on board, because I don't know what the fuck
I can't contextualize. I don't have I have examples, but it's just like still a foreign concept.
That is fair. We will get there. But
please continue.
I will. I'm going to get you to read this quote. This will make everything make sense. Don't worry, guy. Here, just read out this in your wisest voice.
In my wisest voice?
Yes. Like you're teaching a class of Jedi Padawans.
All that surrounds us is the fountain of life, the birthplace of what your science... Sorry, never mind, I'm going back. This quote has changed now since I heard that part. All that surrounds us is the fountain of life, the birthplace of what your science calls midichlorians, the foundation of what connects the living force and the cosmic force. When a living thing dies, all is renewed. Life passes away from the living force into the cosmic force and becomes one with it. One powers the other. One is renewed by the other.
So yeah, that's also all I basically just said, in a nice little quote.
Why didn't you just say that then?
Yeah, fucking
waste my fucking time.
Because I went more people.
I'm so sorry.
Wow, okay. So yeah, the Force and its origin has been studied for at least 25,000 years in the Star Wars universe. Some believe the Force created the galaxy and the universe itself. Others believe it's a natural force connected to it. It is believed that midichlorians originated at the Wellspring of Life. The Wellspring of Life is also known as the Force Planet. It is speculated to be the source of all life in the universe. Located in the heart of the galaxy, enveloped by a nebula cloud, is a cracked, rocky, barren planet, completely barren of life. But the surface is harsh. But inside the hollow planet, Hollow planet is full of life. So inside the planet is teeming with Force beings, and inside that planet you neither need you neither hunger nor thirst inside this planet, as you are sustained by the Force. And the beasts inside that live there are pure Force beings. And this is, so that is the source of the life and the Force in the universe.
Okay.
Yeah. It is also believed that the cosmic force may come from or be related to the planet Mortis. Mortis is an ethereal realm within the Force itself, is believed to exist outside the universe. Like Fey lands in other medias or like Narnia, the realm is dreamlike and can't be mapped, with its landmarks constantly moving. During the daytime, life starts, rises and blooms, and seasons come and go. But during night, all life dies and it turns completely dark except for a few stars in the sky. The realm manifests in different ways and is never when the visitor expects it. Kind of like Narnia, how you kind of just end up being there. You don't really choose to go to Narnia.
Yeah.
You just
hate it.
You just kind of be like, I guess I'm in Narnia now.
I guess I'm here now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This sounds like purgatory. Life starting and recycling on a day basis. That's fucked up.
It's basically the purest form of the Force, and it's at its will on a cosmic level.
Okay.
Basically, in that same place, time has no meaning or comparison to the normal world. So if you could go in and out, and it could feel like days, but it's been like a second. Very much like the Feywilds in most mythology, and the Fey realm.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't seen anything to do with the D&D is going to be very out on this podcast.
Fey legends are just like normal Fey legends. I have different things in time and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just
a very.
Yeah, but you
generic
said Feywild. I'm just pointing
I
at
meant more like generic fairy legends.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the fairy lands and stuff like that, that you go in and out, and you basically no time has passed, or you come in and out. You thought it was like a day, and like 5 years have passed. Time really doesn't have a meaning in there.
Narnia is a good example. I feel like most people have seen
Yeah.
the first Narnia movie, at least when they were a
That
child.
is true. Yeah, they go in the movie, they grow old, and they come out. It's been like a second. That's great example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, with the planet, the wellspring of life, and Mortis being the two sides, one representing the living force, one representing the cosmic force, and they kind of join together to be those kind of both sides of this force. Are there any questions about that?
So many, but that's okay. Continue.
Yeah, so that's basically the Force and its origin. We'll now get into the organizations that are built up in the Force. And this is the part where I encourage more questioning and encourage more talk back, maybe.
Request for membership, please.
That's a membership.
I want to join the Rebels.
You want to? Well, that's not a organization in the Force. That's not a Force organization. That is.
Excuse you.
You have no power here, rebels.
So which one are you feeling more Sith or more Jedi? Who's feeling more Sith? Who's feeling more Jedi here?
I want to let Guy pick because he doesn't know anything about either of them.
Sift.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Sift?
Sith. Sith. Sith.
Sith. Okay, yes.
Yes. Okay, so Jude, could you read this out?
Oh. I've been goofed.
Okay, can I copy this across? That's the code. Oh my god, maybe not.
Most time-consuming part of this podcast.
I'm so sorry.
Matt trying to figure out how to technology.
So sorry. Okay, it's sending. But basically, we're just gonna send over the moral code of the Jedi. So a brief introduction to them. We'll just see.
We're starting on the Sith, though, aren't we?
Oh, we'll get to the Sith. We'll start on the Jedi because to understand the Sith, you have to understand the Jedi.
Then why'd you ask me?
Because I was gonna say who would read out which quote. That's why.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the Jedi moral
Also, I just
compass.
wanted to ignore Guy.
There is no emotion. There is peace. There is no ignorance. There is knowledge. There is no passion. There is serenity. There is no chaos. There is harmony. There is no death. There is the Force.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the Jedi code. So basically, that represents what the Jedi's believe in. The Jedi's rose early in the galaxy as a well-known organization of Force users. They held in high esteem and saw themselves as instruments of the Force's will itself. The Jedi Knights focused on calmness and peace to channel their powers in the Force, using the light side of the Force to serve in the capacity of the Guardians of Peace and Justice in the galaxy. The weapon of the Jedi is a lightsaber, as you may know. That's a lot of very popular in Star Wars stuff. A sword with a blade of pure energy from a thing called a kyber crystal, which is a Force-related crystal that generates this energy stuff from a Force-related user. And they come in different colors from blue to green to purple to yellow, which changes depending on their connection to the Force. So a blue, I believe I haven't written this down, I was just going to tell it on top of my head, but as blue is more connected to being a warrior and being a protector. Green is much more person who's connected highly with the Force, with the visions, meditation, Force powers. Purple is when you're Samuel L. Jackson and you request a purple lightsaber because you want it. No, but purple is...
But there is a canon reason.
Purple is connected to the uses of both light and dark sides of the Force. So, Mace Windu is the one common person people would know who uses a purple lightsaber, and because he uses more dark side things and powers. What was I going to say? Practices. And there's also yellow, which is used for like temple guards and soldiers and stuff like that. So people who are like sentries and stuff like that.
Weak sauce bitches.
Yeah, people who have like
grunts, little fucking
grunts,
minions.
but like people who like are in charge.
You said guards and.
Well, that's seen as a high regard if you're pretending to protect a temple and stuff like that. That's a high. Regard.
Yeah, but not as high regard as a master or as the purple. I use multiple sides of the Force. I'm a sentry. I stand at the door.
I'm the door bitch.
Hey, it's important to hide. Someone's got to stand at the door, you know?
Sorry, did you say, do they, like, naturally have this color? Or, like, do you choose the color? Or do you get the crystal and then it goes, like a horoscope type thing?
There's an episode of the Clone Wars which goes through how a Jedi gets their kyber crystal. Basically, a master will bring them to a planet which naturally grows kyber crystals, and they will go into this kyber crystal caves, and they will go through a bunch of trials, and their kyber crystal will come to them in the sense that like you'll know your kyber crystal when you see it, and you'll have a special trial to be able to fight to get to your kyber crystal. So it's usually basically a character thing where they'll have to overcome a fault or a thing in their character flaw and to get to their kyber crystal.
Nice. This is all good and well, but you have to bear in mind that they're like a 6-year-old.
They are like very young. They are.
Wait, what?
These are 6 to 9-year-olds that will like be going into and get their kyber crystals.
Hey,
character development.
Hey, kid, you want some kyber crystals?
hey,
get in the spaceship.
Hey, kid, you gotta go into that cave and get me some. Do a Yoda voice. Young Padawan. I can't do a Yoda voice. You're gonna go get.
What the fuck is that? Sounded like a really offensive.
I didn't need to. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna do a Yoda voice. Yoda sending kids into the. Yoda does send kids into the cave to get himself some kyber crystals. That does sound very.
He does. Yeah.
He just wants to.
How old is Yoda again?
Like 900 years old.
Did people ever change kyber crystal?
Yes.
Because when I was like 8, I thought that I was going to be a hotel manager. So,
yes,
life goes on.
Especially if there are many cases where a Jedi will lose their lightsaber and they can get a new kyber crystal.
Yeah, they do lose them quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, so if you lose your lightsaber, you can get new kyber crystals. Oh, and also...
Are they covered? Is that part of the policy?
No, you have to pay for that. You have to take that yourself.
No! I gotta go back into the fucking cave again.
Oh, there's
It's a good point. I would like to see like a fully grown master going into the little cave, like,
because he misplaced his kyber crystal.
yeah.
No, but like another color that is a color that does appear is white, which is kind of represented as I don't really know. I haven't really done the research on what color gray is, but it's more like neutral in the Force, I believe. Like setting gray Jedis is a thing from Legends, and people are like very often like them, but they're not a real thing in canon. So the closest person to a gray Jedi is Ahsoka. And Ahsoka is just not in the Jedi. She's just a Force user who uses her, who's no longer in the Jedi.
Yeah.
Civilian, as they call it.
Yeah. Someone that's not really a Jedi or a Sith. They just kind of have Force.
Exactly. So Jedis have ranks from Initiate to Grand Master, and the Jedis are ruled over by a council of masters who make the decision for the entire order. New members to the council are elected by the rest of the council. So that's basically the Jedi.
Yep.
Is there anything else? Any questions you have about the Jedi?
No.
Just that entire motto. That just is the Jedi.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So yeah, they're kind of like the peacekeepers. They talk about their meditation, their harmony. They're like, they're kind of like in a weird way, like monks. They're like remove themselves from the situation and be like the objective. Try and be the objective will, the Force in situation. Be like, what does the Force tell me to do? What is the peaceful option? What is the don't look at it with any passion, which can lead blindsides.
What is
to,
the-
like,
what
you
is-
don't see
what-
the emotion to people's like lives and stuff like that. You just see like facts, you know.
What is the peaceful option, says the group with the fucked up telekinetic powers and magic swords?
Hey, just because I got a laser sword doesn't mean I can't use it. You know what I mean? They don't like the thing about the Jedi. They don't say you can't use violence. Like it's about like you can use violence in the case of like to save other people's lives or in self-defense. But they're not meant to be the aggressors.
It's a greater good organization, sure.
Yeah. Hopefully utilitarian, but like, you know, that can lead to bad outcomes, you know. So yeah, so that is the Jedi. Let's now do the Sith. Oh my god. Fuck me.
Guys, gonna get the quote to read.
Yeah.
Do I get an epic quote?
You do, and I
An
want to
epic
leave
gamer
in
quote?
this your most evil voice.
Do you really want my most evilest voice?
You're the antithesis of the Jedi, an ancient religion group who try and like be peacekeepers, control over the galaxy. These are their ancient enemy. How would you do their voice?
Why would you ask?
I'm trying to think about how to make this bad. How can I do
You don't make this bad.
No, bad evil. I'm not trying to do a bad voice, I promise. Pinky promise.
Just happens.
Pinky swear, lol.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, the chains are broken. The Force shall free me.
So as
Pretty good and wholesome, honestly.
so as Jude was talking about, it's more of that like self person, like I deserve this kind of right because it's like me, that kind of like selfish versus selfless kind of like ideology.
I mean, it sounds like they get the dub, though.
They kind of do.
So the Sith were created when a rogue Jedi saw the source of the true power of the Force and thought they could use their. Oh my god! Okay, sorry, I've written the sentence horribly. The Sith were created when a rogue Jedi saw the source of the true power of the Force could be reached through passion and emotion, something that Jedi's trained to like run out of them. The fallen Jedi was banished, and a group of Jedi went with him into exile and created the Sith Order. They were forever known as the sworn enemies of the Jedi, locked in an internal struggle for control of the galaxy. An ideological and real battle. The Jedi and the Sith fought for many years, and due to losses and internal conflicts, the Sith were deemed all but extinct. So there was a lot of war going on, and so they were fighting, so losing a lot of numbers both sides. But the Sith also, because of their kind of selfish ways, they also have a lot of internal conflicts. People like, I want that power role and kill them, or have like think they should be in charge. So the one thing about being a religious order that's all about facts and like and order and keeping your peace is you really you manage to control people very well. That's one thing the Jedi can do. They control people.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you see how that kind of like Sith ideology kind of like instead about breaking free and being your kind of like your own self in that sense. It is interesting how like both the Jedi and the Sith in different times in the galaxy both hold like authoritarian kind of control over the galaxy. The Jedi kind of doing it in their kind of like you have these rules and you must follow them kind of way, and the Sith being like we're an empire and you're part of our empire. You know?
Yeah. Pranked.
They're kind of different ways of the same thing.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, a bit of that. They have forever. Oh, so blah blah. So they were all but extinct except for one, Darth Bane. So Darth Bane managed to escape this kind of conflict.
The power of the Force flows through me.
I was born to it, molded by it.
You merely adopted the Force.
It's the weak sauce joke. We've got to get our material back on track. Seriously, Darth Bane.
This is why we took a break from the podcast. We're dry as fuck, guys.
To prevent the Sith going all extinct and internal conflicts again, he put in place the rule of two, where to make sure the survival of the Sith, until the time is right to strike and take over, there will only be two Sith, a master and an apprentice. The apprentice will be trained and serve the master until the apprentice is powerful enough to overthrow the master and kill them, or the apprentice dies trying, or through other matters. So in which cases they would die trying, the master will replace the apprentice. So basically, to build the most powerful Sith and keep that power growing, you get the most powerful apprentice and kill the master and become better and better and better and better, or they die and they're replaced with someone better. So that's kind of
His power structure seems like it has no flaws in it that would lead to any internal schisms at all.
Yeah, because if the master
I
suddenly
think you're
dies
right.
one day, that's probably pretty shitty. No, but that's kind of way the Sith kind of work.
How would the master die? I have no idea how they would suddenly die.
But the Sith trained to use the full breadth of the Force to gain as much power as possible. So when you lead in that promotion and stuff, you gain access to a lot of different powers, but also losing that meditation, losing that controlled state, that peace of mind that the Jedi have, you also lose some powers that the Jedi have. So it's kind of like you lose some, you gain some. But the Sith see it as a win in or out the power you gain, because they're a lot more violent. They're usually a lot more aggressive powers. So the Sith also found a way to pour their rage, hate, fear, and pain into a kyber crystal, which corrupts it, which is called bleeding a kyber crystal. And this is what turns them to the dark side and allowed the Force users on the dark side to use kyber crystals, because they're purely connected to like the peace on that side of the Force, and it's what makes them burn red. So yeah, that's basically those.
Yeah, Sith kind of got a couple bit of an L, because all of their lightsabers are just red, no matter what.
There's some legends, I believe, that have like orange lightsabers and something close to that, or like pink
but, like-
lightsabers. I believe there are some people that have pink lightsabers and stuff like that, but like I think it's mostly just red. Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah. So that is the Sith. Any questions about the Sith? No.
How have they
Why do they do
managed
the
to get in charge? Such a terrible fucking
Yeah,
idea.
two Sith against hundreds of Jedi. That seems very fair, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah.
But the most powerful Sith ever, you know, the Jedi get lazy because they get they're comfortable. You know what I mean? Guy's very confused face.
I'm just always confused. I'm so out of my depth.
So the other, some other notable users of the Force. We won't go into all different things that use Force because there's a lot of different ones, including the most ancient one. We won't get into from like the video games and stuff like that. So there's a lot of legends and a lot of canon stuff about different Force users, but we'll get into a couple. So one is the Force family, or the ones also called the Mortis gods. So 3 beings that live on Mortis, the ethereal plane we talked about earlier, that represent the dark side, which is the sun, the light side, the daughter, and the balance of the force, the father. So they kind of represent the 3 aspects of the force there.
So close. They nearly got themselves there. The son and the daughter.
The daughter, damn it. The holy daughter.
Nice.
They are immortal beings who embody their parts of the force completely. The goal of the father is to basically, and their group is to keep the balance of the force. And they kind of live on Mortis and embody that force in that ethereal plane. There's not much about them. There's story aspects that I won't go into because spoilers, and it doesn't really impact the lore. But they are basically force gods in a weird way that exist in the Star Wars universe.
Nice.
They're also the force priestesses, who the 5 priestesses reside in the Well of Life. So how we talked about the past, the place where the midichlorians came from. They are serenity, joy, anger, confusion, and sadness. The priestesses represent a representative of the connection to the force between the living force as experienced by living beings and the cosmic force in its role in the greater schemes in the universe. They hold the secrets of the force and its will, and they protect the wellspring of life. It has also been revealed in behind the scenes stuff that this eventually was an ancient 1-person being who's basically kind of manifest in 5 forms to be this priestess of the force in that sense. So one thing we'll talk about later is when you die, if you're part, you can either leave your consciousness if you're part of the dark side of the force, you can leave your consciousness in an object, or if you're part of the good side of the force, you can become part of the cosmic will, but still be a force ghost and come back and
yet another L for the Sith. You want to be a rock, idiot? Jedi, come through, join us, become a ghost, join the cosmic force.
There are some
Sith. Got a pot for you.
There are some Sith. There are some things that lead to Sith ghosts existing. I can't remember if they're canon or not, but I don't believe so. So there's some Force Sith ghosts out there, but it's not. They're usually more like.
I think correct me
correct me if I'm wrong, but to give guys some clarity on why the Force is so fucking weird as well, is because George Lucas's expanded universe was just starting to flesh out the actual rules and history of the Force, and then Disney bought it and went, not canon anymore.
Yeah.
So then it's in a really weird spot where it's like, wait, so if that's not canon anymore, what are the rules?
Yeah,
Right.
A lot of that, and also a lot of the stuff when Disney is wants to reference something from Legends and goes oh, that's a cool idea, I'll use that, but they don't use the context behind it. So we're like, is it?
Yeah.
Half of it real? Is all of it real? Is none of it real?
Yeah. If you're going to use some of the legends, that implies the existence of all.
Exactly. It implies that all the context behind that being real exists, but also never go into that. So that's never exists. That's why Legends and canons are so weird. But
It's a bit complicated.
That's sounds like too many cooks.
it is a lot of too
Definitely.
many cooks,
It is too many cooks, too many cooks.
Yeah.
Anyone else seen that?
No.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. What are we talking about? What are you
Really?
referencing?
Too many. It's called Too Many Cooks.
What is too many cooks?
Google it
It's
later.
just like a 20. It's like a
next
20-minute
episode
song.
will be a 2-minute cooks episode. Deep dive.
2-minute cooks.
2-minute cooks. Oh, that'd be impressive. The other group, one other group we'll talk about is the Night Sisters of Dathomir, also known as the Witches of
these
Dathomir or the
ones.
Daughters of Dathomir, are a clan and an ancient order of magic-wielding female Dathomirians who lived on Dathomir, a planet bathed in dark energies. So they basically use the dark side to do magic. Because there is canon magic in the Star Wars universe as well as the Force.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, I know, right? These dark side users were able to perform their arcane magic by tapping into a magical ichor that runs through the depths of the planet. The most powerful of the Night Sisters could use their ichor to create objects out of thin air, transform people into ghostly versions of their true forms, or even reincarnate the dead. They've also known to domesticate rancors, which are giant beasts with their powers.
Who gives a fuck? They bring people back from the dead, send people straight into ghost form, and they tamed a big dog. What?
Well,
Who cares? You put the most important thing as the second last thing on the list. God damn it, man.
Well, rancors are they're basically. What if you got like a fucking.
If you don't make this animal sound more impressive than bringing someone back to life, then I'm not gonna have it.
It's like an ape the size of King Kong. You get to control King Kong.
Only an eighth the size of King Kong?
An ape the size of King Kong. I mean just King Kong. It's just meant King Kong.
Wait, hang on. Did you?
He said an ape the size of King Kong.
Babe, you gotta go back and listen to our previous episodes. We got one of that guy.
Yeah, I did it.
God.
I was the one who did it. Yeah,
which makes it worse.
Imagine you had King Kong on your side. They're not quite as big as King Kong, but still.
My point stands. I remember why we do these podcasts now. It's make me angry.
So yeah, there are other beings who are force sensitive or force wielders who work in small groups or outside organizations entirely. These could be individuals who are taught by groups and left or felt connect to the force on their own. For example, Ahsoka Tano is an ex-Jedi who still uses the force. Another example is the Zepho, who are a force-wielding civilization long before the Jedi. So there's a lot of different groups out there, you know? And again, we're not going into all of them. So those are the groups, the main groups who use the force. We'll now get into the force powers. This will be where the fun begins.
Woo!
This is where the fun begins. Yes.
Are you ready?
This is where the fun begins. Let's go.
So I am gonna send a quote.
This is where Guy gets angrier.
I'm gonna send a quote to.
Oh no!
So Guy can read this out in his Sith voice he had before.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of things you can do with the Force. Basically, whatever the writer wanted to make them do at the time, they can do. So they usually fall into three categories. Well, they all fall into the light side powers, dark side powers, and neutral or other powers. So it's also
okay. I'm already angry. Go.
It's also heavily debated. Actually, if the dark side of the Force is actually real, is the real side of the Force, or if the dark side powers are just a corruption of the normal Force, which is just the light side. And we'll go into depths in that on how dark side powers are often very similar to light side powers, but just in a more corrupting matter.
So the debate is about whether there is a separate category or not of powers.
So whether the Force has a dark side, or the Force, the Force is light, and the will of the Force is light, and using dark side is just corrupting that will.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that there's a debate about whether dark side powers exist, but also dark side powers do exist.
No, it's more of
and we know how to categorize them. No, I've got you. Yeah, continue.
It's more does the dark side exist as part of the Force, or is it a corruption?
Yeah.
Light side users can train in dark side abilities and vice versa, but it's usually a rule: the stronger you are in one, the weaker you are in the other, unless you have a very good way to balance both. The key way, the difference between the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force, how you manifest them. So as we talked about earlier, the code of the light side, the code of the dark side of the Force. The light side is manifest through inner peace and meditation, whereas the dark side of the Force is manifest through emotion and will, that kind of thing. So they use it's more like serenity and inner peace, or pure passion and anger. Nice. Because we all know that anger leads to the dark side of the Force.
Yeah.
Yes. So, thoughts? What powers? Okay, we'll start with Guy. What powers do you know of that the Force can do?
Force choke, deflect things. The shit that you talked about, the queens, the priestesses. Apparently, that's Force related bullshit. Fly ship good. These are not the droids you're looking for. That's it. I'm out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I've categorized them into a few categories that I think are the main categories of the Force. Honestly, if you look up Force powers, they just give you a list of 66 different powers. I've categorized them into a lot easier a list. So we've got telekinesis, Force athleticism, energy manipulation, connection to the will of the Force, and mind manipulation. Sorry, my throat's really bad. So telekinesis includes force push or pull, force choke, and force stasis. So force push and will is a neutral power. You don't need to be either to use it, both use it. Force choke is seen as a dark side power, whereas so you have to use your that's like negative emotion. But we also see good people use it, like Luke Skywalker uses it in one of the movies, in the second movie, I believe. Empire. And force stasis is where you freeze something. You either freeze a person or you freeze like a blaster bolt in time, and you like pause things and stuff like that. So a bit of stuff like that. Yeah. And that's sort of connected to Tanikas or like time, like you slowing things down and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really?
It's not time. It's more like just slowing stuff. So it's like holding things back for a little bit. There are things.
I feel like it's just telekinesis holding it.
It's a little bit, but like if you played the game, oh my god, what's it called? The one where the most recent Star Wars video game, the really big one. There is the Cal Kesto in that basically slows things down so we can walk through it, like a big, imagine like blades going by, he like slows it down. It is, you could just see it as he's slowing it down with telekinesis, or you can see he's slowing down time.
Okay.
There's a bit of debate whether which one it is. I think just use of telekinesis is probably most likely.
Hey, what are blaster bolts made out of?
Blaster bolts, energy.
Energy in... That's interesting.
Just like laser. A bolt of laser.
Laser?
Like light.
Laser like a light? Like C, the constant of the universe that can't be slowed? That is relative to all frames of reference, always traveling the same speed? C?
Moving on. It is a...
Interesting.
It's like a big like late... It's a big...
Say it again! I'm gonna go back through the same thing! Just slow it down. Just put a little juju on it.
So yeah, but again, here the force choking is just telekinesis, right? But it's seen as a dark side power. So it's like, is that a corruption of just normal telekinesis, or is that a unique?
That's not a corruption of shit. That's just you. That's just me using a grabber hand, like one of those long grabber hands.
The power to pull a door handle with the force is the same as crushing someone's throat.
But
oh my god, you had a chance there, Jude. Pulling a doorknob is the same as pulling someone's dick off. Like, it's right there.
Honestly, that's my favorite bit of Return of the Jedi, when Luke just pulls off Vader's dick.
Yeah, my favorite moment. Definitely a highlight.
Sounds like I gotta watch the Star Wars movies.
I think we downloaded the wrong Star Wars movies.
Whoopsies.
But like,
yeah, no corruption there. I rule no corruption. That's just someone using a tool in a different way.
But the thing about Star Wars powers is like, light side users, like, there's a debate whether they can't use it or they're just forbidden. You know what I mean? Like, they're weaker in... That's a dark side power, right? So are they just forbidden in using this technique, or are they weaker in it? And you can debate whether which one it is. Like, if it's just like they're not supposed to use it, or it's like they're weaker in using it. Because there's some clearly here that are different powers, but we'll see.
It's a good point, because like, if anyone can do it, why don't the Jedi just like choke out and pick up everyone they ever fight?
I mean, there are instances, as I said, like there's Luke uses it. There's a time when Count Dooku uses Force Stroke when he is a Jedi. There's a few times when but also these are usually times when they're using their rage, their passion, you know, in that moment. So, you know, it's a bit of up in the air. There's also been times where like Jedi have like crushed a robot and like pulled its like rips its like guts out. I'm like, if you do that to a human, you're fucking horrible. But just because it's a robot, it's fine, right?
Okay, I set up my Jedi chamber. My Jedi chamber is me on a throne, and either side of the room, I have two giant blocks of metal on sliding tracks. I then use my Jedi powers to crush someone in the middle of those. I am therefore using the light side of the Force.
Correct.
Sure. Go on, baby.
I think looking at it more like it's like an ideology of how you use your powers and like what
It would be forbidden to use the Force to kill someone if you're light side.
yeah, and it's also like
Okay, what if I'm
guess.
hallucinating? What if I'm like out of my mind?
To be fair, Star Wars is a big kind of follower of the issues that Batman has, where it's like, I'm sworn never to kill people. Killing people is wrong. But then you'll watch like a 20-minute compilation of the Jedi committing war crimes in the Clone Wars, where they're just like, murder the civilians, they're separatist scum. And yeah.
Fucking get 'em, boys.
It's one of those shows, it's one of those universes where they try to make a big impact on moral things, but then kind of go completely against it.
There's an episode where they use flamethrowers on a bug species. It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, hey! In their defense, it doesn't take the Force to use a flamethrower.
yeah. You're not corrupting.
No
the Force.
need to worry about the light or the dark side of the Force here, baby. Trigger of the flamethrower don't know no side of the Force.
It's a good point.
It's also blah 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 blah. That's also a kids show, by the way.
You can't just not say a sentence and say blah 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 instead. No matter how fast you
No, he's
say
saying
it.
it's Clone Wars is a
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
show, and they
Clone
can
Wars
Okay, sure.
Which it's a very interesting kid show. But yeah, so going on, forced athleticism is one of the things. This allows you to force speed or force dash, where you like speed yourself
Nice.
up or make yourself go really
Nice.
fast for a second.
Nice.
It's force jump, and there's force jump, force leap, stuff like that. And there's also force scream, which is a dark side of the force power, which basically is a internal, like a scream that like disconnects people from their, like puts them off and like decombobulates them and separates them from the force for a second. That's
Okay.
a thing that Palpatine uses Jude when he is attacked by the four Jedi, and so that's force.
Oh,
That scream that happens in the movie is actually canon as a power. That's why a lot of them, in one of these scenes, a very important scene, a lot of the Jedi die like bitches. They go down really easily.
That's the other thing with Star Wars. They've got a bunch of not great movies that people then try to justify with, oh, it's a force power he was actually using
force
in that
scream.
scene.
I saw literally a TikTok the other day through Instagram Reels, the only real way to watch TikToks. The other day, that was basically like, whenever you have a problem with Star Wars, the solution is more Star Wars. So basically, it was explaining that if something doesn't make sense, eventually, if you keep watching Star Wars, they'll explain it in like the next TV show or like 3 years down the line, and something else is like, that makes sense retroactively because of this thing that now exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solution to Star Wars is
of
more
course.
Star Wars.
I want to get off the Star Wars train.
More Star Wars is
They'll
always the
eventually make
answer.
it make sense.
Mm.
So another one.
Also, force jump, force leap, and all that sort of stuff. Do they have to say that as they're doing it, I assume?
No.
Force jump, force jump, force jump.
Let's jump. Hi cha.
No, it's not a fighting game. This isn't Tekken.
I wish it was. I wish it was.
Another one is so energy manipulation. So this includes influencing metachlorians to create life. Force healing, force lightning, nature manipulation, which includes making things grow or like creating a storm. Energy absorption, which goes from absorbing like something that's hit you like a force lightning, or even like controlling flame or taking flame. And there is force projection, which is projecting yourself somewhere else in the galaxy while meditating or being somewhere else.
Of course.
So, any of those powers interesting?
The astral projection one always kind of stands out to me as like, but why
Astral
though?
projection doesn't really fit with many of the other powers, because like the only kind of
No, it's very cool. I have telekinesis. Cool. I tell you a little white line, bluff it through. And then there's just, I project myself across the fabric of reality to the other side of the universe.
So it's I think it's connected to the force kind of ghost that like they
Yeah.
kind of have that, and like I get it in the sense of like the will of the force is everywhere, right? So why can't you connect to that point of the universe and project yourself, your will there? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've done things
yeah,
where
I
they
guess.
can do telekinesis when they're not even like anywhere near each other. When doing holograms here and a hologram in another ship somewhere, and they can like still use the force because they can see it. Which is not explored enough, I'll be honest. That is a really weird thing that they can do. That gives a limitation in your power or anything you can see. So you just have like a video camera in your room. You can just keep moving things around.
Yeah, I mean, what
Which
else?
is very strange. So sorry. But that does imply that all you need to do is send in like a video drone into your enemy's base and then choke the fuck out of them. Why do they never do that? You don't have to like hell yourself. You just like send a little drone into someone's base and kill them.
Let's not think about exploits with these powers, please.
They're too flimsy.
Sorry. But yeah, so yeah, one of the powers in there that's really interesting is influencing the metachlorians to create life, which is...
Yeah. What's an example of them actually doing that?
So, there's a time where, like, Anakin, right? The main guy of the series is... It's hinted, and I don't know if it's canon, I think it's definitely Legends, but I don't know if it's canon, that the big Sith Darth guy was the one who... sorry. Impregnated Anakin's mother, because there was no father.
You fucked my mom?
So it's like, you know how, like, Mary in the Bible was just had a baby?
Yes.
That.
It's kind of like that.
That's fucked
He
up.
is such a chosen one trope. Like, literally, it's like, he's Jesus in that sense.
Very
So
intriguing.
that's influencing metachlorians to create life.
He goes, and life.
Exactly.
happens. Life.
He impregnates a woman,
finds way.
basically.
That's really fucking weird. Is that a dark side force thing? Tell me that's exclusively a
That
dark
is
side
a
force
dark
thing.
side force thing.
Okay.
So far.
But force healing is a good side of force thing. Force lightning is mostly a dark side thing. Force lightning directly is, but there's a thing called I think it's called like what's it? It's called like green lightning, I believe, which is a light side version of the same thing.
Does it? Could you clarify to me what the distinguishing features are of it that make it a light side thing?
The light sides get to use it. That's it. That is one of these cool
Dark side. Listen to me. Force lightning, exclusively dark side, super evil. There is a version of it we have that is available to the Jedi, and there is no difference. But it's the Jedi
green.
thing.
It's green.
It's green.
It's green instead
Purple.
of... But it's blue and... Okay.
Green for G for good.
Exactly, right?
Green for G for Jedi.
Nature manipulation, that makes sense, like creating storms, creating lightning and stuff like that. Energy absorption, like you can absorb someone else's force lightning or absorb something like that. And force action. So, connection to the will. The next one is the connection to the will of the force. So this is seeing visions of the past and future, because the force, and in Mortis especially, the cosmic force. But basically, the connection to the force, because like the force exists outside of time, you can get visions of the future, get visions of the past, and there's even a time someone pulls someone through time, so it saves them from dying.
There's fucking time travel?
Yes, there is time travel in the force.
When does that happen?
Could you clarify to me whether this is a good side or a bad side thing?
It's neither. It's a neutral thing
Cool.
that kind of exists once and never comes up again, because it's important to like this very singular space between that doesn't really exist most of the time. That's in Rebels, Jude. Yes. There is a time someone like saves someone through time travel, but yes. But yeah, mostly it's visions and stuff like that. You see like something, a potential future, or you see something from the past. Another one is force sense. Like this is sensing others, or sensing danger, or sensing the future. This is like you might think, there's a powerful force user there, or a lot of people just died, and I sense the weakness in the force because of that.
Oh yeah, great disturbance in the force.
Exactly.
There you go.
God, it's like he's one of us already.
I'm not.
I know, right?
But yeah, it's the way that Jedi managed to sense blaster bolts coming and attacks coming. It's why they can attack and be so fast with not missing anything. It's why they can deflect a bunch of different shots from like 20 people all at once.
And I'm assuming that there is additional Jedi powers to allow them to actually react in that time?
Yeah,
Because seeing it's one thing, actually reacting is a different
That's the
thing.
force athleticism we talked about earlier, because that improves their
Aha.
speed. So another one is force concealment or force clouding. This can make this because there's a dark side connected force, which basically can cloud people's force senses, so they hide them. And that also hides them from like stuff like truth sensing. From that's a good side of the force power. So basically, you can cloud. It's what they use in basically the Sith used throughout the entirety of the prequels. Because otherwise, they're hiding right under the Jedi's noses, or the Jedi's would just be like, "You're right there. I see you. You're dark."
Yeah, one of like the funniest plot points of the entire prequel trilogy, guy. The big bad Sith dude they're looking for all three movies. It turns out he's been sitting, chilling in the political offices next door to the Jedi Temple the whole movies, and they're just like, "Where is he? Who is this mysterious Sith?" And they're just like having Mizdis meetings with him. And he's like,
Especially because like not only has one of the other Sith apprentices like told them, he's like, "By the way, there's a Sith Lord in the council," and they're like, "No, there's not. Fuck off."
Eat shit, you're lying to
we
me.
know if there
Yeah,
were.
good one. Yeah, you're just trying to trick us. Also, like this Sith Lord is like so many times he's like, in trouble or gets captured or anything like that, has to pretend to be like this helpless guy because he can't give it away. That he has to wait for the Jedi to come save him from his own
Yeah.
guys. He's got to like do this, but they
Oh, God.
Orchestrates his
Capture.
own hostage situation,
Yeah.
basically.
Seems like pretty extra.
it's very extra.
Yeah, he's
Yeah. Another one is the connection to the will of the Force is the Force Ghost, of course, where they basically present your will. Sorry, that was Jude yawned just then, and his mouth was so fucking wide. I couldn't.
He looks
I was
scared.
trying to make the yawn silent, but that ended
was
up forcing my
crazy.
mouth open more.
Yeah, I get it. It's real boring, Jude. Come on, we'll get through the powers. Don't worry. And don't worry. I left the best till last. You guys are gonna be really impressed. That's the Force Ghost and their connection to the power and the cosmos of the Force.
Yeah.
And the last main category of power is mind manipulation. So that's what we talked about. These are not the droids you're looking for, guys. So
I'm with
You
it.
can use there's
I saw that one.
there's telepathy, which we know what telepathy is.
Telepathy.
Telepathy. I can never get this word
Kill you
right.
One of these. I'm gonna kill you one of these days.
Telepathy. Telepathy.
Telepathy, not teletherapy.
That's what I said.
No, it's not. I will
Telepathy.
go back over the.
Telepathy.
You have done this.
You have done this so much. I can't.
I
That's it,
forgot.
I'm
No,
done.
never
Just
mind.
like
I
an
remember why
episode.
we cancelled the podcast. I remember why we started doing it. I remember why we cancelled it.
Why do they have to put fucking telepathy in every fucking world? I can't pronounce it.
It's okay. We will continue. We will not comment on this word again. All will be fine.
So telepathy is one power. Another power is mind tricks. So that's the Jedi mind trick of these are not the droids you're looking for. There's mind probing, which is like the corrupt dark side version of that. It was like reading someone's mind or like getting a truth out of them.
Ooh, that sounds evil.
Yeah.
Reading someone's mind.
Don't the Jedi do that as well, though?
When? I don't recall.
I can specifically remember a bit in the Clone Wars when the three good guy Jedis walked into a room with a restrained prisoner and were like, "We will overpower you," and just like mind fucked him.
Yeah, the Jedi are bad people sometimes. Sometimes they use bad powers, The Jedi code is more like guidelines.
There is no ignorance. There is only knowledge.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the last one, the best power of all, guy, is the power of friendship. No, it's the power of literal friendship. It's animal bonding. You can
Yay!
you can manipulate animals to be friends with you, and kind of like see you as a pet, and stuff like that.
So, you're telling me
Like the Rancors.
there's
guy.
a case. Okay, I don't fucking care about the Rancors. The Rancors are stupid. So you're telling me that there's a case that Snow White could be a Jedi?
Definitely could be. She'd have to be light side because that is a light side power.
Oh!
So the Jedi's
monkey,
get no friends.
monkey no like the Sith.
Jedi's get no friends.
No, monkey, no, like.
Nice.
Eggs.
I'm on top of that.
Common Sith L.
Common Sith L, no monkey for you.
No monkey.
So the Force doesn't really have a weakness other than like it's stronger in some areas. It's less strong in some areas, but you can still always use the Force depending on how hard you've trained or your metachlorian count. That's kind of a mixture. So there is that thing, if you train hard and you're really good at it, you can get up there, but you'll never have the raw strength of someone with a high metachlorian count, right?
Is there any way to get jacked on the midichlorians?
There are no metachlorian steroids, no.
Well, they're little bug guys in your body. Surely if I suck all the blood out of someone and then use space age magic bullshit to extract all the midichlorians and then put them in myself.
The only way there are...
I can actually tell you why that's not possible, guys.
Tell me why.
Because the writers haven't needed it yet.
There's kind of a case where like you might clone a new body for yourself and put your mind in that body, and if you clone that body with a high metachlorian count.
Yeah, right, okay.
Why
So you could steal someone else's
Why doesn't
body,
everyone
kind of.
do that then?
Because that's really fucked up, guy.
I'm just saying.
That's a fucked up thing
I'm
to
in
do.
intergalactic battle with magic space wizards. I'm willing to commit a little war crime to get myself ahead.
Can we put that on a shirt? I'm willing.
Sometimes you gotta be willing to do a little war crimes to get ahead.
All's fair
I
in love
think we
and
know
war,
which
you
side of the Force Guy's gonna be on.
No animal friends for me.
And that ability to manipulate and create life is a Sith side, so you'll have to be a Sith, sadly. No friends for you.
Oh, very sad.
But yeah,
Very
there
sad.
are no real weaknesses other than like being surrounded by negative emotions makes it, and like kind of like that passion makes it harder for a light side user because they're clouded by that dark side of the Force and they can't get that inner peace, you know? So both sides, if you need to tap into the dark side, you need that passion. If you tap into the light side, you need that inner peace. So that is the powers. Are there any questions about the powers of the Force?
Yeah, Force Ghost keeps getting mentioned as a power. Is that a power, or is that just a perk of eating shit and dying and then having something else to do?
So yeah. So if you die and you've learned how to project yourself in the Force,
It is specifically if you when you die.
yeah. Well, the Force.
You have to unlock the perk before
Exactly.
You can't Doctor Strange this shit and get shoved out of your body.
There's the Force projection. Remember where you can like project yourself somewhere else, but that's not the same as being a Force Ghost. No.
Yeah,
and
correct.
But
So-
the weird thing about the Force Ghost is like, which is a newer thing, is Force Ghosts can still use the Force. So Force Ghosts can like, there is a time when the Force Ghost of a Master Yoda uses the Force to manipulate a storm and create a lightning bolt to burn a tree.
Okay, so what's the downside? Why can't I just die and be my martyr for my army and be an invincible Force Ghost?
There's a couple things. One, it's hard to Force Ghosts only really appear where they're, you know, the vergences we talked about earlier? It's very
Yes.
hard for them to appear anywhere other than those vergences. There has been times in canon where they have, but though that is very hard. Usually on their voices or like will they feel like so. But actual projection of a Force Ghost in those places are very rare. So
Right,
I feel like,
that makes sense.
yes, that would be a thing, and probably mostly because that would be writing themselves into a hole, guy. But yes, there is no reason
Star
why
Wars, the Ghost Wars.
why they couldn't just lure all the bad guys into Invergence and use all the Force Ghosts to stab them or kill them with their Force powers. Yes,
God, I wish.
that is the thing that could happen. But yeah, so that is the Force basically. So in conclusion, the Force leans towards a soft magic system, but has some well-defined traits which could make it a bit more harder if we're talking about that in that way.
We're gonna
A
make
bit
it
harder, you know. It's a bit flaccid, but sometimes it gets a bit hard.
No. It's a hard.
Whoa.
There's two different sides to it. In the debates between the Star Wars nerds, it's very well defined and very strict. And if there's no example of it happening previously, then you're a dipshit and you're an idiot and you don't understand the Force. But in the writers' room at Disney, it's a completely soft magic system. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
Exactly right. That is it.
I had a summary, but that's
Schrodinger's magic
I had a
system.
summary in mind, but that's exactly what it is. If the Force is... I also petitioned to make it not hard and soft magic system. It's flaccid and erect magic systems.
No, we're never using that.
That sounds good. I'm on that side.
And
Let's go.
Never
two
using
against
that.
one.
2-1. We win.
Cool. I'm never allowing this in my
Well, I
episode.
suppose 2 to 1.5. He does get an extra half.
Yeah, for being the editor. Damn. Controls what we get to say.
Yeah.
He does actually get to. He's gonna edit over the top of this. No, Jude, don't cut me. Jude,
What is it? What is it you want to use? Sorry. What do you want to use?
I
instead
want to
of
use
hard and soft?
hard and soft magic system, Jude. That's a perfectly good way of using it.
Thank you.
I think it should be a hard and soft magic system.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for.
And I'll
agreeing
never
with me.
say it any other way.
Thank you.
But yeah, so basically it's soft in the way the Force can be used whenever they needed the story to. People can be as hard, people can be as strong or as weak as they need to be.
People can be hard for the story.
But there are some well-defined features and limitations and training and users, and using the Force and great powers can drain the user. So you have that aspect of the magic systems we talked about in our magic system episode.
Honestly, the fact that there's no like there's will, but there's no like cost.
No, there is a cost.
Makes it
So
what?
So like if you, and it's something I didn't go into a lot of detail, but there are cases out there that if you use the Force a lot, it does drain you.
Drain you how? Like drain
Like-
until I'm a skeleton? Does it suck the fucking blood out of my
Like,
bones?
for
What's
example,
it doing?
the actual projection I talked about earlier, he projected himself across the galaxy to be here. Luke died from
Uh-huh.
that, so he
Oh, what the fuck?
yeah. He died from that. But like, there seems people like often they use a lot of Force power and they're not even that like worn out. So it's very much when the writer wants people to be drained or not. So it's really loose. In that
That's
sense.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, it doesn't come up. The cost never really comes up. Like Vader walks around choking bitches as much as he wants, and there's no. He never looks exhausted, and yeah, fucking Yoda doing his little hoppy dops around, going. "Arr, arr," and there's no, you know.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's a pretty good
Yeah.
description of just Star Wars in general.
Yoda doing his hoppy dops everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in general, it was believed nothing was impossible with the Force, which is beyond any power of any man-made machine. So that is the Force. And one last quote we're gonna read from Jude. Can read out this quote. Go Jude.
Oh.
Good
One
quote.
to end us off on this magic system.
In my experience, when you think you understand the Force, you realize just how little you know.
Which is the conclusion I got from fucking researching this mystical
Yeah,
fucking power.
great. Great.
It's just what the fucking story
Nice.
wants it to do. And there's organizations, there's
Yeah.
powers, there's explanations, but it's fucking bullshit. I love Star Wars. It's so dumb.
It's very silly.
I feel like you have Stockholm syndrome, but it's okay. Just looking from the outside.
I think okay. My based opinion on Star Wars is that at the end of the day, it was ever meant to be was just haha lightsaber slash and blast of fire. It was never meant to be any more serious than like a fucking Fast and Furious Die Hard sort of fun action movie. But then people and fans decided, no, there is important meaning to this story, and attached way more meaning to it than it was ever meant to have, which then inflated it beyond
I
itself.
disagree in the sense that I do believe the first movie, and George will say again, wrong, but I do believe the first movie was made, and then they went, oh shit, it's good, and then they planned the rest of the trilogy. But also, it was always planned as a space opera. So the characters and stuff and the story behind it was always more important than the world. But I do believe they just went a bit deep in like the Force and like every origin and nerddom just kind of took over it, and it became more and more in depth and layers and layers and layers.
It's the classic example of the fans getting too worked up about the IP and kind of thus causing its demise to an extent. Where like it's kind of impossible for Star Wars to make anything good these days, because if they make anything different, they get slandered and ripped apart. If they make anything not exactly what people want, it's shit. If they,
I mean, I hear the Mandalorian's good.
It is.
Yeah, the Mandalorian. But then there's also
the thing about the Mandalorian is it's very.
Are there more fucking knocks? Hold up.
The wind. It's saying it's the wind.
yeah, fuck, it was a wind, I think.
So there's no old men knocking at our windows anymore in our new location, but there is the wind is trying to interfere with the podcast. The powers that be will not stop this. The will of the force itself is trying to stop this podcast coming back from the dead. But we have the power of the dark side, and we will reincarnate this podcast.
I will infuse myself into my computer and podcast evermore.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, check us out on Living by the Law on our Facebook and Twitter.
Plug.
And thank you to all the people that messaged us in the downtime period asking when new episodes were. You are the reason that we were like, fuck, we should make some more episodes.
We appreciate everyone, and we appreciate all. And if you really want to help out, sharing with your friends is the way, and leaving a review on iTunes in your respective countries. We really love you guys. Thank you so much for all the work. And a shout out to Ireland, because it has been popping off in Ireland lately.
Apparently so.
Shout out to
It's been
Ireland.
good. It's been good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because I actually have time to do things again.
Imagine
Yeah.
actually
Thank
having
you
a
for
schedule.
yeah, terrible.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, thank you. And how we used to end this?
We used to-
Good evening.
night.
I think it was good morning.
Good day.
Hey, mate.
You know what? We're gonna change.
What do you think Jar Jar Binks' midichlorian count is?
off the fucking?
He's a titan.
No, he is the secret dark.
Now,
He is the boss.
we're
He's
getting-
the villain. He is the main Sith Lord guy.
Time to get into the theories. Jar Jar is a Sith Lord. He controls the entire series.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Living by the Law to keep you updated on all the latest about our podcast. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.